Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I want to talk about grails, holy grails in gaming. We all have a specific game or item or items that we would love to one day add to our collection, and I just wanted to go over a few that I would love to one day add to mine. Now there are some caveats to this list here. I could make a list of all these huge expensive items that I would just love to have in the collection, Nintendo World Champions and all that stuff. But the list that I made here is stuff that I think could be pretty semi-realistic to one day add to my collection if I couldn't have already added them to my collection. The problem with a lot of these is that the price tag on it just doesn't justify me wanting to spend all that money to just have something sit on a shelf, because that's something that a lot of these items are unfortunately going to do. They're not going to really be something you can play or that I would play. It would just be sitting on a shelf. So I can't justify the price tag on a lot of these things, but they are really cool items and just some things I'd like to add to my shelf, hopefully one day in the future. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. The first item I want to talk about here is the Dragon Quest Switch that came out over in Japan only. It was a Japan exclusive. It came with Dragon Quest X. And you know, guys, I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan. You know that if you're following the channel. And just that console variant just looks awesome. It has the blue, it has the slimes all over the back of the console and everything. It even comes with, I think, a special edition version of Dragon Quest X, the game in it. But again, it would just be something that's in a box that's going to be sitting here and not played. I already have a Switch, so I will never need to play that one. It would just be a display piece. So even though it's easily obtainable, I mean, if you got 300 bucks, I could buy one right now. But to just have a Switch sit on the shelf and not be touched, that's pretty much the only reason why I haven't gotten it. And what makes it tough is, since it's overseas, it's not like I could ever walk around here and find it at a yard sale for an even better deal or anything. That's just not going to happen. So if I ever want to, I will have to fork out and purchase it from overseas, but maybe one day in the future, just to throw out 300 bucks for something just to kind of sit and never be touched, it's tough to do it. All right, the next item here is actually an item that could technically be touched and played, but since it is once again from overseas, I will not be able to play it, and that is the PAL big box version of Super Metroid. Again, you guys know I love Metroid here. I collect everything Metroid. Pretty much have every version of the game here in North America complete in box. I still need to get the NES Classics version complete in box, but other than that, I got like everything. So now it's just a matter of if I want to collect stuff from overseas for the series. But PAL, the European region, got an awesome big box version of the game. It's this big red box. I'll have pictures and everything you guys are going to be looking at instead of me. But it also came with like a little player's guide inside of it. So that would just be awesome to add for the Metroid collection. I think it's something that's priced anywhere between 600 to 800 bucks from what I've been seeing online. But it's tough to even see any of it online. I see one copy on eBay, and they're asking like 600 something bucks for it. So that might be something where I could get in contact with some of my EU friends to see if, like, hey, is this thing around over there, or what is the price of it? Because maybe they could be able to hook me up with a better deal than anything else. This is the item that before any of these I would probably get first. It'd be the first thing on my list of maybe being able to hunt down and find that I'd love to add. But again, it's something that's expensive, and since it's a PAL release of the game, I wouldn't really be playing it. It's the same game, so it'd just be a shelf piece to show off. But since I love Metroid, man, I would love to have it. So since we're talking about Super Metroid, let's stick with that theme. There was a Super Nintendo complete in box console variant that was actually packaged with Super Metroid. I've never seen a video on YouTube or anything about it, so I do not know if this is actually a real thing, but I'll show you guys the pictures that I see here. I'm looking at to my left. It's apparently a real thing. Maybe it wasn't a US thing. Maybe it's in a different country again. I do not know, but everything on the box is English here. Everything looks English, and it just says it comes packed with the Super Metroid game pack inside. Now, when it comes to the Super Nintendo, like, box variants for the consoles, this is probably one of the like lamest ones as far as the artwork and stuff on it. Just has a little picture, again, Super Metroid and Samus on the bottom left corner. while other ones like look really colorful, have bigger logos. It's not just a game picture or anything. But again, since it's Super Metroid, I gotta have it for the Metroid collection. Like, I just have to own it. And from what I saw, like one of the last ones that sold was around $1,500 for it. So that is, again, it is a lot of money for a game that I already own, complete in box, and a system that I already own. So you're just pretty much getting a box. Don't really need the whole thing complete, but it would be cool to just have that box as part of the collection. But I can't see this thing anywhere. So if you guys have even seen this stuff at shows or anything, let me know, because I haven't seen anything about it other than these pictures online. And since we're talking about my favorite franchises, there is another franchise. If you guys have been tuned in for long enough, you know I love Resident Evil. The Resident Evil franchise is near and dear to my heart. I love it. And something I'd love to add to the collection is the Resident Evil chainsaw controller. Now, why haven't I had that thing already? Again, it's not the most expensive thing out there. Anywhere from $200 to $400 you can probably find one. As a matter of fact, I remember seeing that thing for like $50 all the time back in my high school days, around when the game had come out. But it's just one of those things that over time got rarer and rarer, and now it has a bigger price hike on it. But again, it's not that expensive, but why not get it? Well, pretty much because it just looks like a cumbersome controller to want to use. And once again, it would just be sitting on a shelf. So paying that much for something that's not going to be used, it's tough. Even though, like, you're seeing all these games around me, they're not getting used all the time. But when it's eventually time to play something, even though it might cost $200 for it, I at least get to put it in and play it like I'm gonna play it. When it's something like this helmet here that's sitting here, you don't really play that. It's a display piece, and that's why I'm not one who has tons of display items, because man, I like being able to use things that I'm using my money for. So once again, that controller just would sit on a shelf, but man, it would be awesome to finally own one. All right, we're nearing the home stretch here. I'm gonna just do 2 more here. And once again, since we're talking about Resident Evil, let's continue with that theme. I would love to have a Resident Evil standee of any kind. It would just be awesome. You know, I got lucky enough last year to get that awesome Luigi's Mansion 3 standee, and that thing is gorgeous. It is awesome. We're going to start building a Luigi's Mansion shrine around it eventually, hopefully, when we move to a bigger home that has a full-on basement I could just take over. But I would love to have a Resident Evil standee. I have a buddy here in town who actually has half of a Resident Evil 3 Nemesis standee, but it has like water damage and stuff on the bottom, and it's missing the Jill part of the standee. It just has the Nemesis part of it. And there's just so many cool ones. That would be an awesome one to have just because it's so huge. But they have Resident Evil 4 standees. They have stuff for the Resident Evil remake that came out on GameCube. There's just so many cool ones out there, and it would be awesome to be able to have it in a corner of my game room somewhere, or when you're walking down into the steps into a basement, you're just greeted by a Resident Evil standee. It would be sick. So that would be truly an awesome Grail piece to add to my game room. And last but not least, we'll shoot for the stars on this last one, but I came so close this year to actually getting one, and that would be like a Nintendo kiosk of any kind. And Nintendo specifically, just because their consoles and systems are really near and dear to my heart. If something like a PlayStation 1 or Xbox One was ever presented itself to me, of course, I would try to jump on the opportunity to own one, but a Nintendo kiosk would just be awesome to own in my home. And like I said earlier this year, I was so close. If you guys are a fan of Retro Rick's channel and the Game Point channel, everything like that, you will notice recently he got a Nintendo kiosk that was one that they put in hospitals. I think it values around, what, $3,000 to $6,000, one of those things. Well, one went up for sale in my area earlier this year for $500. Yes, $500. It would have been about a 2-hour drive for me. I was in contact with the guy to make sure, like, hey, if everything was intact, the only thing he said it needed was a new monitor inside of it or a TV. And I had a perfect 9 or 13-inch TV that was going to fit in it perfect here. So I was, of course, getting all excited about it. And long story short, I won't end you guys or take you on the tail of my heartbreak, but we were not able to get it. It was kind of sold out from underneath me. And yeah, it was a sad day. So it's one of those things. Did it ever even really exist? Was this guy just trolling or anything? I don't think he was, because he was a Facebook member for years. It wasn't like a new account or anything made. So it was sad because I was so close to owning a Grail piece for such a great price. But unfortunately, it just fell through. So it would be awesome to own any type of Nintendo kiosk. GameCube, Super Nintendo, just anything would be great. Even a Switch one. There was a Switch one that went up for sale in Seattle, which is about a 3.5-hour drive from me to go there. But that guy only wanted $300 for it. But unfortunately, I missed out on that one too. So one of these days, I'm going to get lucky and I'm going to get one. And I'm going to add it to my game room. So there you go, guys. Those are my Grail pieces that I'm looking out for. There's a laundry list of more, but I figured that was a good place to start with those 7. So if you guys got anything you're looking out for that you would love to one day hope and dream to add to your collection, leave it in the comments below, because I'd be anxious to see what you guys want, because it's probably something I forgot about and I need to add to my list. So I'll be looking forward to it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.